Rob Font and Adrian Yanez in the bantamweight division, minus 168 for Yanez, plus 168 for Rob Font. Over under 2.5 rounds, minus 124 for the over, plus 124 for the under. A big win streak for Adrian Yanez. Rob Font dropping his last two to Chito Vera and Jose Aldo. He's taken not quite, or he's been a little over a year off for Rob Font. He took a beating in that fight, though. I mean, you watch that back, like, whew, you look at his face, he got touched up. Even though he outstruck him. Like, that's the crazy part about Rob Font, man. He can put an insane volume on him, but he could still lose. Like, he put 271 significant strikes on Chito Vera and still lost. He got knocked down 3 times. 149 against Jose Aldo, got knocked down twice, lost that fight. But he did have the 5-round decision win against Cody Garbrandt, 176 significant strikes in that one, didn't get knocked down. So that's his last win. It was a pretty good performance, but it doesn't age the best with Cody Garbrandt. Because even at that point, like, he was not what he was, years prior. So I like the younger fighters in general. Rob Font, 35. Adrian Yanez got a lot more momentum. I think he's got a little bit more finishing ability under his belt as well. He's never lost in the UFC, so he's 5-0 in the UFC. Knocked out the Contender Series guy in 39 seconds. He knocked out Tony Kelly in less than 4 minutes in his last fight out back in June of 2022. I just think there's a lot more upside when you're taking Adrian Yanez. The only thing that scares me is if Rob Font comes out, and he's been fighting in 5-rounders the past 3 times, and he always comes out hot. He always puts out a ton of volume early. The only thing that could scare me is if, he puts out a shit ton of volume in those first 2 rounds, and then Yanez is going to have to find a finish in the 3rd round. But I think Yanez will probably be ready for that. And I think he gets it done. I think he could knock him out. Rob Font is fairly durable as far as like getting knocked out goes. He's never been knocked out, but he wears a lot of damage, and maybe this could be the time that it really kicks in. I'll take Yanez for the pick. I honestly don't mind the price because Yanez has been a pretty pricey play for the most part, and he's on a 5-fight win streak. So it's not terrible. It's not terrible. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Rob Font being almost 36. And the thing that kind of sucks about Rob Font's career is that he's got a ton of wins in the UFC, but he could never really string together that win streak to advance him up towards the top, in his athletic prime. That the win streak he did finally go on. He beat Sergio Pettis, Ricky Simon, Marlon Moraes, and then Cody Garbrandt. But it's like once he got to the top against Jose Aldo and Chito Vera, it's like maybe his time was just slightly past him. So he could never really do anything once he got to the top of the division. And now you got to fight Adrian Yanez, who's young, hungry, and reminds me a lot of Chito in ways. He's patient, he's composed, and he hits extremely hard, and he's extremely accurate. I mean, the guy's as accurate as they come. And, you mix that in with being, with wanting to be a UFC champion or wanting to be, at the top of this division, that's scary for Rob Font. Rob Font's kind of done it all in the division. He's got a ton of fights. He's fought the who's who in his last few with Chito and Jose. And Adrian's going to get a little taste of that here. And I just think Adrian shines, man. He's one of those fighters that the UFC loves. I mean, he puts on a show every time he comes out. He hits hard. He gets knockouts. I don't think the UFC would have thrown him to Rob Font if they didn't think he was ready and was going to be able to take Rob out here. Because, I mean, they got a lot of money to be made with Adrian Yanez coming up. And I think he is ready for Font. I think Adrian Yanez is as focused as they come. Just a straight killer, man. And we were talking before this, Rob Font's really technical, and he's got a good jab, but he's almost too technical sometimes where he doesn't really take any crazy chances or anything. He has a lot of decision wins on his record. Couldn't finish Cody Garbrandt when Cody was getting finished by everybody. And I just think Yanez is a tough kid too. So yeah, man, I'm actually really loving that Adrian Yanez is under a 2-1 favorite here because you never see him at that price, like you said. Adrian Yanez is going to be the pick. I'm probably going to lay something on him too. I just love his style. Big fan of him. And I think this is a perfect little stepping stone to kind of cement your name in that top of the bantamweight division.
Yeah, last thing, we talk about Rob Font putting a pace and voluming up. Adrian Yanez actually lands more strikes per minute, slightly. He does get hit a little bit more, but he's a really good counterpuncher, and I think if Rob Font is going to go and start the exchanges with the jab and try to get in close, I think Yanez could find something and probably land a knockdown or two.